Velkommen til Karriereklubben, en podcast, der hjælper dig med dine personlige udfordringer i karrieren. Mit navn er Rossmeisl, og jeg er dagens vært. Welcome everyone. So today we're here live at Speciale Festivalen to record an episode of Karriereklubben, and I'm the host. My name is Rossmeisl. I'm hosting Karriereklubben, and Karriereklubben is a podcast where you're able to submit your dilemmas and questions about your work life, and then hopefully we can help you offer some guidance in your work life. And if you face any dilemmas, you can always send them to Karriereklubben at gmail.com. Yeah, we have a Gmail. And today's theme is taking the first steps in the career. And we have to solve 3 dilemmas in total. And I'm joined by this amazing panel to solve the dilemmas today. Welcome to the 3 of you.
Thank you.
I think we should start with you presenting yourself to our audience and our listeners. And maybe I'm looking at you, Oliver Anton. Maybe you can start.
Yes, I can. My name is Oliver Anton. I work in the intersection of technology, democracy, and equality. I do a bunch of several projects and activism and grassroots movement. And I serve at the board in Laudrup, which is a smaller grassroots movement focusing specifically on hate speech targeted towards LGBTI plus people. And I also work at Amnesty International, where I'm responsible for anti-discrimination.
Busy, I can imagine.
Some would say that.
Amazing to have you here. And let's move on to you, Anne.
Well, I'm all about releasing potential. I work mainly with the younger generations. I'm the CEO of a company, Forup Helmich and Associates, and we help companies attract, recruit, lead, and retain the younger generations. So that's me. And I'm also busy.
Yeah, and you also receive a lot of dilemmas, right, from young professionals struggling in their career.
Yeah, I must admit.
And we also have to say hi to you, Thomas. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you so much.
Can you give an introduction of yourself?
Of course. My name is Thomas Laudrup, and I run a recruitment business in Copenhagen. For the 2 last decades, I work with companies, business to business, helping them find their right employees and make their best cultural fit.
Amazing. Are you ready to solve some dilemmas?
We are.
Bring it on.
I think we should just start with the first one. Hi, Karriereklubben. I'm 28 years old and I've just graduated with a degree in project management. I've heard from many experienced professionals that building a strong network early in my career is crucial for unlocking opportunities and advancing in the field. But to be honest, I'm not really sure how to approach it. Being more introverted, I find networking events overwhelming, and reaching out to people, I don't know, it just feels a bit awkward. I really want to develop a network that can help me find exciting opportunity and grow, but right now I feel unsure about where to start. So, how do you start? From Anders. Yeah? Building a network and trying to reach out. I guess we've all been there.
Yes, we've all been there. And I would definitely recommend this darling little girl. I wouldn't focus too much on the professional networking part.
Really?
I would more, build genuine relationships with people around me to start with. You never know who you meet, who might be your next colleague, partner, collaborator, boss. So instead of attending all those network events, which can be quite horrible. I've been there too many times. I wouldn't, because it will be, it's not about building a large network. It's about building genuine relationships more than anything else. And that would definitely lead you to your next thing, your next experience, your next adventure. So more focus on building, the right relationships instead of large networks. That would be my advice to her.
He already have got something wrong by saying he need to build a professional network, because in your opinion, actually, it's about building genuine relationships.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thomas?
It's about people.
Yeah.
So you just need to hang around, maybe with your alumni. You can look around. get active in your study group, or like you said. So it's about people, it's about relations, it's about networking. You don't need to put it in like a box, just do it.
But I mean, Anders also feels introverted, and I guess you may be a bit of the opposite, Thomas.
You think so?
Yeah? Or maybe you're forcing yourself to be it.
Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah.
I meet a lot of introvert people, and just to like send an application and sell themselves to get into a job interview could be hard. So that's what we're taking care about. How do we take the interview with those people? But those people is in a groups in the school and in the study, and maybe have a job or at football or whatever you do when you're not in school. It's about people and connecting with people.
Yeah.
Like I see.
I see you nodding, Oliver. Anton, what would you give of advice to Anders?
Well, as the other two also mentioned, I think this person probably focused too much about the goal, which is about finding a professional network rather than just being curious and driving on the curiosity within itself. Because I think that is like the main priority right now. And also remembering that networking and talking with people, it's a two-way street. So you also need to have someone networking with that also participating collaboratively within the conversation. So if it's not a good networking, then it's not in your hand. Then it's probably also the other person, because it's two-way around. And I would also say just reach out. I mean, people always love to talk about themselves, also over a coffee. So there's nothing awkward within it. If you're generally just reaching out and saying, hey, you actually inspire me. I think your path is very cool. Do you mind me giving you a cup of coffee and telling me a bit about how you reached that goal? Because I'm inspired by you. I mean, why wouldn't you do that?
How have you, I mean, now I'm just curious, how have you done it yourself?
Well, I've actually reached out to a bunch of people that I was inspired by their path or something they did right now, just to hear more about that. And I also set just smaller goals for myself. Anders here also talked about the point of also just being online and doing stuff. And I mean, just break it down. Again, people also focus too much, or they focus mostly on themselves and not other people. So there's nothing awkward in posting on LinkedIn, because it's in your mind that you're focusing on your specific post and not everybody else. They're busy just living their life. So setting smaller goals and just achieving what you want to do.
Okay, amazing. And who did you reach out to, and how did you do it?
I reached out both on LinkedIn and on mail, actually. And it was a bunch of several people, also people that I might not see myself within, but also just to hear from their experiences, also in different sectors. I worked mostly in NGO sector, but I also talked with a lot of people within like public sector or private sector, just to hear and get their experiences. Because I think that's what it's all about, understanding the environment and the community you're in.
Mm-hmm. And then you say it's about building genuine relationships. I mean, do you have any tips and tricks on how you can do that?
Well, I would say in order for networking and building relationships, I would say, and I've been in the game for so many years, especially with the networking part, being, you know, I've met hundreds of people who have the approach, what's in it for me when building networks. If you turn that around and be the one who offers help, then you will stand out already as a person building a network and genuine relationships. There's no doubt about that. And then I would also, as you mentioned, I would focus on having one or two really genuine conversations instead of, you know, reaching out to a lot of people. Take 1-2 at a time, see where they lead you. You know, don't worry, the network will follow if you are, you know, true to yourself, and you know, give out something of yourself as well, of course, in the relationship.
So quality over quantity.
Yes, of course.
Do you have any final advices for Anders, Thomas?
Yeah, maybe just do it, because it's all said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So reach out.
Reach out.
Yeah. Well, Anders, I think there is some great advices for you here. Well, first of all, you should not focus on building a professional network. You should rather focus on building genuine relationships. And how do you do that? Well, first of all, it's about, find out where you can help instead of just assuming others can help you. That will really give you something special to add to the conversation. And then Anne says, maybe just focus on a few relationships instead of building a lot, quality over quantity. Oliver Anton also says that, it's really about people, so try to just be curious. Everyone loves to talk about themselves, so maybe you can exploit that opportunity. And Thomas' final advice for you is just do it. It's not that it's not that hard, and he knows a lot of introverted that have actually managed to build great careers and find great relationships just because they did it. And jumped out on it. So thank you so much for your dilemma, Anders. I hope you will find a great way. Let's move on to the next dilemma. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Karriereklubben. I'm 27 years old and I graduated with a degree in communication this summer. The problem is, however, I still don't really know what I want to do with my career. I have so many different interests, and I can see myself working in anything from PR to social media or even event planning. I'm really scared of choosing the wrong path and ending up stuck in something that doesn't make me happy. At the same time, I feel like so many of my friends are already well into their careers, and it stresses me out. How do you figure out the right direction when you're unsure? From Maria. Well, first of all, Maria, I can relate to it because I'm an educated journalist and I do not work in journalism anymore. So, paths can definitely change. But let's hear from our panelists as well. What do you think Thomas, Maria should do here?
I think you're lucky with all those possibilities. So be happy for that. Then you can actually get like a mentor, somebody who's have the same education that you or not. And have a mentor who can help you finding your path, because there's a lot of possibilities, but there could be a little fog on the glasses, and then you can get confused. So get a mentor.
But you actually say that this is a good thing.
Yes, because you have possibilities. If it was very narrow area, you were maybe kind of stuck in that area. Then it's a big area and you have a lot of possibilities.
How did you come about it in your own career?
Whoa, that's a good question.
Yeah,
it's about being curious about people, being curious about business, and take one step at a time. This will give me this goal and this goal and this goal, and go with it. When I was a kid, I was definitely not thinking about being a headhunter.
That was not what you dreamed of?
No. So it wasn't. So it was my path about people and business and connecting those dots.
When did you figure out you wanted to be a headhunter?
Oh, it was about, I think, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Clients asked me, because I was working as a consultant and doing some tasks from business, and it was all about people, getting the right people, and some boxes to fit in, and then make results. And they asked me, could you do that? And I was like, no, because reading all those applicants and all that work, I remember from my time as a manager in TDC, I was like, oh, it's not me. But after a while, I got very good compliments and feedback from our clients, because I actually did it. And then I consulted some of my friends, asked about, okay, you're in the recruitment business, how to do that. And then I rented software to help me, and decided to make it a business, and got in a partner who come from that business and build a business. So that's 10 years ago.
So it was not something you really planned to go?
No, because This is where we are today, but you have not like a headhunter education. It's several things you put together, and definitely about people.
What will you say, Anne, to Maria that are struggling with this? I mean, choosing the right path, afraid of choosing the wrong one. I kind of want to ask you, I mean, is it even possible to choose the wrong path?
No, it's not. And I wouldn't stress about choosing the wrong one. I would stress about not choosing at all. Yeah. Because that's the thing with this field, communication, which is an amazing field of interest, and it's so inspiring if you ask me. So she should just choose what she feels, where her interest is right now. That's the good thing about this broad field. There's so many advantages, because you can go out one path, you can fail, you can find out this is not for me, you can choose another one. So I wouldn't at all. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't worry at all, and that's a good thing about it. You can always choose another path. Yeah. How about your own path? It wasn't defined at all. and well, I was just, of course, thinking about it when Thomas just told about his career. I didn't plan ahead. And, I'm dealing with Gen Zs every day, and they shouldn't plan ahead. And it's not, in their personality to plan ahead. They are young, they're excited about the future. I was just like Thomas. I was curious. I was open. I took the conversations. I made the genuine relationships, and then things took me, one step at a time in a certain direction. And of course, I was in it myself in the whole time, true to myself, my goals, my values. So I didn't compromise, and that led me to, in my opinion, amazing jobs, mainly in the media industry. But I think for me, it was about having autonomy and, doing my own projects and deciding myself. As so many other young people, I was also an individualist. I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to prove myself. And I think I was, because I took that approach, I had, the possibility of running big projects and showing what I was capable of. So I wouldn't plan too much ahead, but I know they are not anyways. Yeah, that's true. Have you heard, this reminds me of the saying, fail fast and,
exactly.
Fail fast, yeah. And then move on. Yeah. But you've learned from it.
Yeah, exactly.
You gain new experience, you gain, new knowledge. So look upon it as in a positive light, and move on.
And then how does she choose? Because you say it's very important that she does make a choice.
Yes. She just have to choose and be comfortable with that, and then she has to see what happens. She cannot plan everything. She just have to be true to herself.
What about you, Oliver Anton? Have you ever struggling with, being afraid of taking the wrong path?
Yes, I think everybody does that, but I also really agree what you're saying, Anna, about just focusing on making a choice right away. You're going to work for at least 40 years. So, just start from one place, and then after a year or maybe two, then reflect upon what do you like about the thing you're doing right now? What could be better? What do you want to do after this? Just start from one place and then reflect after that. Because really it's just about starting from a point.
Yeah. And how have you made your own choices then?
Well, actually, I was this kid and person who actually just did everything that the government and the politician think that we should do. That means having no gap year and just going directly from high school to university right out at the job. And I actually didn't think a lot about it, and I didn't stress a lot. It was actually when I was in my job, after having graduated and have been there for a couple of years, that I started reflecting on what is this thing I do right now? Is this actually what I want to do? Should I focus on something else? And then starting from there. But just remove your brain just for a couple of years and start building a network, start gaining some experience, because that's also how you know what you like. You need to do something in order to know whether or not you think it's inspiring or cool or nice to do.
And you say we have to work for 40 years. I get tired just by thinking of it.
But work is fun, What you're doing right now is work, and that's fun.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Do we have any final advices for Maria? Well, I mean, Maria, actually, I want to give you an advice because I can kind of see myself in this dilemma because I've been in journalism, I've been in communication, I've been in PR also, and I had a conversation with the guy I met at a networking event once, and I was like, yeah, but this has brought me so many opportunities, and he said, well, but you do not know what you would have if you have done otherwise, and I was like, that might be true. But what can I use that for, right? So I think, I mean, it's also about finding the beauty in the choices you have already made, because you cannot really go back again. I mean, so even if you choose what would be seen as a wrong path, well, then you can say that. I mean, that was just not for me, but I explored it, and I now know that that's not what I'm going to do.
There's no such thing as a perfect path anyways, or a perfect job. You know, you have to go with the flow.
Yeah, Thomas?
You can see it as an adventure when you're traveling. Going to a place, go out, and it's new, and it's you're curious about it. And then you can have a thought by yourself. What are your interests? What are you passionate about? And what are your strengths right now? And go with that and use it. And then it will bring you one step at a time, like you're taking the stairs.
But I also think it's also so easy to say for us, right? Because when you look back at your path, you would say, okay, that made sense because then I took this choice and this choice. When you stand in front of the first choice, then it feels a bit anxious.
I would definitely look after paths or positions or places where you can learn, where you can grow more than anything. Because then you can change path, as you also say. You know, you have to feel it to know it.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to round up this dilemma. Thank you for your contributions. So, Maria, well, first of all, you're lucky. That's what Thomas says. You have many opportunities, and that's a good thing. And we heard from all our panelists about their career stories, and there's really not a right path. I mean, and they didn't know what they wanted to do when they were like the same age as you. So maybe it's also about for you to explore and just choose something. That's what is important, says Anne. It's important if you do not make a choice at all, then it will be difficult. So just make one choice, and you will be able to maybe change that later if that path is not right for you. And then choose a path you can grow from. So find a place where you're able to grow and build some new skills. That would be the best advice here from our panel here. So thank you so much for your dilemma. Let's give our panel an applause. Well, moving on to the last dilemma. Are you ready for that?
Can't wait.
Woo, it goes here. Hi Karriereklubben. I'm 26 years old and I recently started my first full-time job as a junior consultant at a consulting firm. I really want to make a good impression and show that I can take on responsibility, but I'm already feeling like I'm being given more tasks than I can handle. On top of my own workload, I've been helping with tasks that other people should be managing. My boss seems happy with my work, but I'm starting to feel overwhelmed and I'm unsure of how to say no without coming across as incapable. I want to show that I'm ambitious and ready to this, but I'm worried that I'm being taken advantage of, like I'm becoming the go-to person for everything that needs to get done. I fear that if I keep saying yes to everything, maybe I will burn out too quickly or just end up doing other people's work at the expense of my own growth. So, how do you deal with that when you're new at a job? From Tina. Yeah. Being a fixer. Well, I guess we all could use a fixer in our life, right?
And I guess everyone knows this profile, this type of person in organizations. Well, I would say, first of all, being a go-to person, the go-to fixer, that means that people trust you, first of all. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. Well done.
Yeah.
But of course, you cannot take upon herself anything. And it's also her job to, of course, set her own limits. And be aware of her own goals and values. She needs to set her limits to protect her energy, so to say. And a way to do that is, of course, maybe to offer solutions, but push it away. It's not easy.
So how to do that? Offer solutions, but push it away. So say if somebody comes with a task, you say, "Oh, you should do this," but I'm not the one doing it.
Exactly.
For you.
Well, it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
As long as you do it with respect, and even better is to offer a solution on how to do it. Then it's easier to push away if you actually tell them how to do it.
Yeah. And you know a lot of Gen Zs and talk a lot about this, I know. So is this something that Gen Z...
Well, actually not.
Yeah.
No, because I'm so impressed with how they actually set boundaries for themselves right away. Also, when, joining the workforce, their first job, they put out right away what they want and need and what they expect. Mm. It can be a little too much. Too many people and many leaders, C-suite people, they find it quite, spoiled. How can you ask for that already? You haven't even been here for a month and now you ask for a raise. That's insane. But also when it comes to work-life or life-work balance, that's the term they use more than work-life balance. They are quite, I'm impressed how they put their own limits out there and they speak about it. And of course, there's a reason for that. And we all know what time they have been growing in. We have seen the corona. We have seen mental health struggles like never before. So they are quite aware. So they, I think compared to, 20, 30 years ago, they are actually quite skilled when it comes to pushing and setting their own boundaries. I must admit.
That may also be why she's like very, she looks a lot about make sure that she doesn't burn out. Exactly. It's a big word to use when you're 26 years old.
It is. Yeah. So she is aware already. Yeah. That's the first step.
Yeah, Thomas?
I think I got 3 areas I will focus on. First of all, we are lucky to have persons like you. It's like a glue to the company. They get things together. So the fixer role is alive, and thank you for that. We all know these wonderful persons. But it starts all in the recruitment process. That set boundaries and be honest with your new boss and HR or the recruiter or who else you talk to about this is something I have a little fear about. How can you help me? So, and you can actually get it in the onboarding program if it's a company who has a onboarding plan for you, like set boundaries, these are the tasks, and your manager could help you with this thing. Yeah. And the last part is the power of no. I think a lot of people could learn that. I learned it by myself. Be better to say no. Having a business, being a human, say no and set boundaries in a very kind way. So it's not only when you're 26. I'm almost 47. So yeah. So when you say no, you say often yes to yourself.
But what I'm also picking up here is that you say being that go-to person, it may not be, as glamorous, but it's super important to the company. It's glue to the company. And companies should be lucky to have those people. So could there also be maybe a reflection from Tina's side to reflect upon whether this is an important role?
Yes, it is. Yeah, definitely. And I always also think about the trust your colleagues show you. Turn it into could be like a mentoring. Like, oh, thank you for asking me how to do this and that. Maybe you could try and do this and that by yourself and all set. Yeah. Make other fixes, maybe. Yeah. Yes.
Good point. What about you, Oliver Anton? What would you give of advice to Tina?
Well, I fully understand where she's coming from because I think a lot of people especially when you're new and want to start your career, you're so ambitious that you want to do everything. But I think, as the two other also mentioned, a part of being good at your job is also knowing how to prioritize, and that also means saying no. And I don't think she should be afraid of it, actually. It's just about including her logic when she's talking to her boss about why she's prioritizing the way she's doing. Because that's also how to know how to scope your own role and how to scope your own work. And that's, I think, the key aspect of being good is actually being able to say no, because this is not my main area of work. And if that means that a bunch of things is not going to happen, then it's up to the company to know what should we do about that thing. That's not on your board. That's about them understanding whether or not they need more workload in order to actually do the things they're doing. But you also need to be able to say no and scope your own role.
And how do you prioritize? I guess, I mean, a lot of us could learn from that.
I think it's about focusing on what is your job? What are people expecting of you to be able to do? And then plan from there. And she's also mentioning that a lot of her colleagues is reaching out to her, and that's super nice, and that also means that they trust her. But I also think that she should be able to also understand whether or not it's on her word or not, and also set her boundaries over to her colleagues, even though that could be hard. But that's not her word.
Yeah. Well, I think there are some good advices for you, Tina. I think, first of all, it was interesting also what you said, Thomas, about being, I mean, that a fixer can be that glue to a company. I mean, maybe we should start looking at fixers as a really, I mean, important role and a role where you're also able to grow. Yeah, that was just my reflections on it. And then, Tina, you should also be able to set your limits because you cannot do everything. And it's really about being good at prioritizing, is what Oliver Anton says. And I guess I could learn from that. We could perhaps all learn from that. But finding out what are people expecting of you, what is it exactly that you have to accomplish with your job. And maybe some of the other tasks that you're using a lot of time on, maybe you can delegate that. I mean, maybe you can find your own fixes, as Thomas says. But at the same time, I mean, well done that you are a person that people goes to. That's really showing that they trust in you, says Anne. So also well done to that. Thank you so much for your dilemma, and thanks to you for solving these dilemmas. Du lyttede til Karriereklubben, en podcast produceret af Andrea Thormand, Karoline Rossmeisl og Nima Tisdal. Du kan altid følge Karriereklubben inde på dine respektive sociale medier. Vi glæder os til at høre fra dig. Tak fordi du lyttede med.